Hello ladies and gentlemen, today I'm going to be looking at gold in Infinite Magicraid, how to make gold and how to make sure you keep it and not waste it. Gold is incredibly important as you use it for upgrading your gear. Gear is one of the most important parts of the game. It doesn't matter how many exclusives your heroes have if their gear is bad, and to get good gear you need to spend a lot of gold. If you run out of gold, which can happen if you're not careful, then this can really hurt your account's progression. So, how do you get gold? You don't farm it outright. You don't just go to levels and get gold as a drop. Instead, what you do is you farm equipment and then you end up making gold by selling the bad equipment. Now, the way to go about this is to farm equipment hard during Ruin leaderboards. So that includes triple equipment event and the various artifact events for Netgear, Growlin, etc. You want to be spending all your stamina on these events. These are the best things in the game for spending stamina on, and when these events aren't on, you want to be saving your stamina for the next one that you want to push. And this of course comes with the added benefit of climbing that leaderboard, getting more mythic shards and other resources. Then when you're done doing all of that, you want to be selling the bad gear, and you also want to be selling gear that you are now too high leveled for. For example, at the end game, you're not going to be using 5-star gear at all, so you can pretty much sell all 5-star gear. So, how do you tell what is good and what is bad? Well, purple and legendary gear can be crafted so long as it's 5-star and above. For example, if you were to have 2 legend speed items that were 5-star or above, and 2 legend HP items, you can craft them into a feather piece of the matching quality. So for that reason, if you're in the early and mid game, you want to be keeping all 5-star and 6-star purple and legend bits. And if you're in the end game, you want to be keeping all 6-star purple and legend bits so that you can then craft them into better pieces. This leaves blue and lower quality gear. Now, blue gear can be good depending on the type of gear and where you're at in the game. I still have heroes in some blue gear because the substats rolled well. For example, regular speed gear is really good even as blue early in the game, because a 6-star blue item might get +2 speed on it, and suddenly you've got an item that has +90-ish speed, which is great for your support earlier on before you get purple and gold speed gear. And just as a side note, regular speed gear is great for a lot of heroes. This is why a lot of people farm rum during triple equipment events, and it's highly recommended that you do a lot of rum yourself and get a lot of high speed gear for your support characters. For me personally, I sell all green and below equipment no matter the rarity. I sell almost all blue equipment, but that's because I'm at end game. If you're at mid game, you might consider selling all 4-star blue and down equipment. You might even sell all 4-star purple and legend equipment, to be fair, because 4-star isn't that good and you can't craft it. The point I'm making is which gear you should sell and which gear you should keep does depend a lot on how far through the game you are. If all of your characters are in 5-star gear because you don't have much 6-star gear, then 5-star gear is probably going to be pretty good for you if it's blue and it's got good substats, and so you'll probably keep on to that. Later on, when everyone's in 6-star gear, you'll probably sell your 5-star blue and lower, and eventually even your 5-star purple and legend and lower. I know that's a bit confusing, I hope that makes sense, but the general consensus is sell gear. Sell gear you're not using, sell bad gear, it's going to make you shitloads of cash. More examples of things you can sell are artifacts where the main stat isn't very good. So for example, almost every hero in the game, outside some heroes in cleave lineups and other weird PvP shenanigans, want speed as their main stat in their 3rd artifact. So what does that mean? It means that you can pretty much safely sell all artifacts with attack, HP and defense as the main stat in the 3rd artifact slot. Now again, there's some niche cases where that's not the case. If you're using Bison or BJ that gives someone a turn immediately, they might use attack or something to do more damage, but generally you'll want to be selling all of those, and it'll make you a lot more money. One thing I didn't mention earlier as well that's really worth taking note of is that you should not buy gold with gems, but what you can do is buy stamina with gems and use that stamina during these leaderboard events. It pushes you further up that leaderboard, it's getting you more gear, and you're going to make gold by selling that gear anyhow. So, you've got all this gold, you've been farming rum, you've sold all the rubbish stuff, now you want to start upgrading your gear. This is actually probably the main cause of people having no money in Infinite Magicraid. Incorrectly upgrading gear, not knowing how to upgrade gear or when to upgrade gear. When you're looking at a piece of equipment and deciding whether or not to upgrade it, what you're looking at is the substats. The stats that increase every 4, 8, 12, 16 levels. You want substats that matches the stats that your hero wants. For example, Arato is not going to benefit from healing effect. So you don't want an item that has healing effect, flat attack, flat defense, and speed. She'll benefit from the speed, but she won't benefit from the others. And chances are, she's not going to get much benefit from that item as a result. Instead, you find a piece for your Arato, and the substats are speed, HP rate, mastery, and maybe some other random stat. This is a great piece, but if all of the rolls go into that other random stat, it could end up being bad. So how do you go about it? You don't just hit plus 16 straight away, because that costs around 5 million gold. You press plus 8, you see where the 2 rolls go into. Let's say it goes plus 2 mastery. Great, now you're going to plus 12 that, and then plus 16 it, and see how the remaining rolls go. And this is an integral strategy to make sure you don't lose loads of money by plus 16ing random gear. I see this happen all the time, especially when people just start the game, they plus 16 everything, and they end up with no cash and can't upgrade things further down the line. When you're first starting, you don't even really need to plus 16 anything. Plus 12 can get you through the campaign for most gear slots. I would only really recommend upgrading boots to plus 16 because speed is so important, and maybe if a hero uses attack, you can upgrade the weapon, and the artifacts can also be good with main stats, but it really depends. You really don't need plus 16 everything when you're first starting out. It's worth noting that mythicking gear and getting it to plus 20 costs 20 million each time. That's so much gold. This is why gold is so important. People run out of gold, they can't upgrade the gear, they hit a wall, and the characters aren't progressing as fast as they can. And so it's also important that when you mythic items, you're mythicking the right items, because scales are also incredibly hard to come by, so you don't want to waste your gold and your scales. With that being the case, the golden rule is to mythic boots and speed artifacts first, because speed is arguably the most important stat in the game. It's good for everyone, you can swap the gear around afterwards, with that being the case. Boots and speed artifacts first. So, just to summarise everything, don't buy gold with gems. Use gems if you want to get stamina. Farm ruins leaderboards with your stamina. Sell the bad gear to make a bunch of gold. And then when upgrading gear, plus 8, then plus 12, then plus 16. Don't go straight plus 16. Don't waste that gold. It's too important. And that's about it. If you have any questions, just ask in the comments or join our Discord in the description, and I'm more than happy to help. Good night and God bless.